Hey traders, Raghee here, and in this recap video we're going to talk about the S&P, the daily price movement ranges from yesterday, and what my favorite times of day are for intraday S&P, YM, NQ, oftentimes crude oil, CL, gold, and very much currency plays. And the timing may seem a little different, but I think there's a lot of relevance to focusing on the pre-market and the post or going into the U.S. close. So I think a lot of people think about pre-market and they start thinking 8 a.m., maybe the 9 to 9:30, and then, 9:30 bell rings and it's the Wall Street Open. What I think about is an interesting little time between 4 and 6 a.m. Eastern. This is all East Coast Eastern time. So I think about this 4 to 6 a.m. as the pre-market. And oftentimes you will see, as we inherit the European and the UK session risk appetite or aversion, and after the Asian session close at 4 a.m. Eastern, between 4 and 6, oftentimes you'll see some trends that develop that will go right into about 9 o'clock. There's always the 8:30 reaction to data that we have to watch the calendar for, but it's not uncommon to see some interesting trends develop between 4 and 6. And I'll trade that actually 3 to 5 hour window almost like a little day unto itself, remembering that that psychology is going to suddenly shift with any 8:30 data release out of the US and any 9:30 reaction to the open, which, look, 9:30 is when we get the most volatility. The 9 to 10 o'clock candle is when we get the most volatility typically of the day. Now, after that particular time, my next favorite time is going into the close. And I'm not trading the, 3 to 4. That's not what I'm interested in. And I have a 4 o'clock cutoff or a 4:15. What I'm thinking about is, how do I set myself up for a trade that could take me into the Asian session and beyond? So this is how daily price movement ranges work. And this is how I ended up long the S&P, throughout today, throughout Friday, and I have a long position into the weekend. We had a level that we sent out at 9:37 a.m. And this was yesterday, 9:37 a.m. And it basically, based upon daily price movement range, it basically said, hey, here is the zone that you're going to want to buy. And that's what we did twice. The second time was right into the end of the day. And we know that that's setting us up more for the Asian session. So as the day progressed, that buy just remained valid. And we could project new lows for the S&P, but I'm realizing that fill around 28.36 to 28.32, that was our 34, that was our zone. That zone is one that was going to be very hard to recreate that ideal risk reward ratio that we had. So we managed the trade as we had higher through today. But what I'm trying to say is this trade was really perfectly set up in the previous session. Now, if you think about your S&P trading as 24-hour, almost Forex-esque, Forex-esque, that's a hard thing to say. Forex-like, how's that? Very Forex-like, very 24-hour mindset. Very much understanding how we roll into one financial center after the other. Now, a few traders asked me, Rag, could this have been a Darvis? Look at all these narrow Darvis. Could this have been a narrow Darvis squeeze breakout? And I said, yeah, it might have been, but I was sleeping. So let's be a little bit more realistic about when this trade looks good. So if I didn't have to sleep, yeah, that would be great. So I'll look at this 3 to about 4:15, 4:30 window to set me up for the Asian session. And then I'll look at the window between 4 to 6. Or if you get up at 4, great. Some traders do, or 6 to 9. I think 6 to 9 is pretty reasonable, especially for my East Coast folks. So think about these, I would say, slightly unorthodox, what I call the pre market. So it's not just any pre-market, it's the pre, and then think about how the close sets you up for the Asian session and beyond, because that's exactly how we were able to capture 30 plus points on the S&P today. Have a terrific weekend.